Looking back over the year, I am so grateful for our entire Duke community for what they've done. You all have helped us to get our labs up and going again, to deliver patient care, and to continue our education. And everybody had to pull in the same direction to do that. Our people figured out how to care for patients in a very different environment, taking care of the sickest of patients for almost a year now. What was amazing in the first 2 months of the pandemic is the rapid switch from in-person care to virtual care. They really believe in what they're doing, and they believe in the goodness of what they're doing. And that's extraordinary.
In science and medicine, we never arrive at the truth, but we're always trying to move toward the truth.
We have seen innovation in almost every aspect of managing COVID. We use the Regional Biocontainment Lab to actually work with the virus to understand how antibodies work against the virus. Our Vaccine Institute started to work on a SARS vaccine.
We have the ability to go from bench to bedside. We have the entire arc of research development in-house.
And then our clinical investigators were able to bring studies online in record speed. If you look back pre-COVID, it would have taken us several years to complete a study. And yet, during this past year, that cycle has occurred in weeks and months. The surveillance program was the work of literally hundreds of staff and faculty that developed a methodology to being able to constantly test the environment at Duke to look for early signals that we were having an outbreak.
We are doing about 2,300 samples per day right now. We have capacity to go to 3,200 samples per day. It has served us well for the surveillance testing application.
It became really a national model for how you do a rigorous surveillance program.
Well, welcome everybody as you join this session. If you could please go ahead and share your video with us. It's always good to see everybody.
We had to adapt to virtual education. And so our faculty were able to rapidly take the courses from in-person and really build a virtual platform. Unfortunately, our community reflected what was being seen in many communities across the country early in the pandemic, that infection, morbidity, and mortality was disproportionately occurring in vulnerable populations, whether they were Black and brown populations or Latino populations. And so what that really did require is really rethinking our partnerships with our own community. Everything from advocating for testing sites that were in the community, to education materials that were appropriate, and now to vaccination strategies.
Por ti, por mí, por todos, vacúnate.
Piece of cake.
People cry when they get the vaccine because it's just such a relief from what has built up over the last year. You know, on the one hand, that's great to see. On the other hand, you do realize that this year has taken its toll. I am very lucky to be surrounded by such extraordinary people. The very idea that we have a vaccine in such an incredibly short period of time validates why we have an academic health system and a research-intensive school. That accomplishment couldn't be done without institutions like Duke constantly pushing the science, setting up the infrastructure, developing new technology. I am so proud of all our faculty, staff, and students for everything that you've done and all that you are doing. Your efforts, both in terms of keeping our campus and community safe, but also keeping all of our missions moving forward. Thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you.